It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee. We have clear, I don't want to say winners and losers. We have people that are showing growth and people who have opportunities to grow should they choose to do that. James, showing growth. Katie, showing growth, but she's doing it with a machete. You know what I mean? Like she's taken a machete to it. She's not doing it with knitting needles or
you overcorrect before the pendulum finds
right,
center,
exactly.
So
but
yeah.
Katie is not mincing words. She's being honest. And the way she's behaving, the thing about James and Katie is that they don't have to be worried about what they say when they say it not in front of other people. Does that make sense? Like they're not being two-faced like Lala and Scheana and Schwartz. Those people are talking out of both sides. James, Allie, and Katie. James and Katie more because we're still getting to know Allie, but and she seems like she has no taint from these people on her at all. Mm-mm. She got no stink from the last 13 years on her. But 11 years, 11 seasons. Do you know what I'm saying? I can cut it off right there. I don't need to repeat myself, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I think, but I also think it's just I would not have spoken this way about James 6 years ago.
Hell no.
I was horrified by him. And I thought his behavior was like relentless and cruel. And, I would have called it unforgiving.
Scary.
Unforgivable.
Scary.
Years ago. But it's just a testament to like why reality shows are worthwhile, why, because you get to see, you can make the biggest, grossest swings. And when James apologized to Katie all those years ago for how awful he was to her, and she said, I believe you. I know you're sincere right now. And he said, I'm really trying. And like, that is what, like, that's real life. Like, I know all of the reality show, bells and whistles go on around those moments, but those are the moments that like you and I have always been here for.
Totally.
It's just like, and it's so, I don't know, it's heartening just to see that you can evolve from being an enormous fuck up to being someone who means well and still fucks up to being someone who means well and takes action that is in alignment with that. Like,
yeah,
and
cool. You can do it at any time you want.
And cycle through it a million times over.
Exactly.
Tom Sandoval could still be a hero. All he has to do is say what you said earlier. Like I spent 10 years of my life with you, and whatever, that beautiful speech. If he ever did that, I would be like, oh. But this is not that.
No.
Oh, and then we get into another dysfunctional relationship.
Wow. Yuck.
We have, Joe enters the picture and Schwartz invites her over to the lion's den. And she said she doesn't want to be around negative energy. And Schwartz is just so unconscious and will say anything to avoid conflict, which, note to everyone, in doing so, you insensitively create major conflict because he just says, they're not negative. And literally there was essentially a record scratch and the whole room looked over and was like, huh? Like, come on, man. And he's like, oh, you mean Katie? And then he follows that up with, who cares? And I was like, who cares? Last night you were trying to get in bed with her. So like, I fell for it. I thought you cared, but look at you now. Who cares? Wow. Okay. Or maybe he's just, now I'm so cynical, maybe he's just producing this moment for the finale.
But either one,
I don't know.
Either one fucking blows. And either one is callous to both of these women that
it's using them
about,
both.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that is why he's friends with Tom Sandoval. He's not so different.
Water seeks its own level.
Preach.
Oh, Joe, the minute she said, maybe if I apologize to Katie, she'll apologize to me. I
just wrote, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
What in the tone deaf?
Right.
And her confessional was absurd to me because she said, I don't know if Katie's mad at my relationship with him, but I feel like he could date a tree and she'd chop it down. Good luck, next woman. I'm like, have you never been an ex? Have you never been an ex-girlfriend, let alone an ex-wife, let alone an ex in any way where you've been involved for 12 years? this is gonna happen to Joe at some point in the future, and I hope she looks back on this and absolutely retches at what she's saying here. It's absurd. Being an ex means just that. Yes, the next woman is fucked. You will be hated, so just circle wide, like, kill him with kindness or just disappear. Like, this
And
is not your fight, ma'am.
I mean, she didn't and obviously Tori turned out to be a nothing burger, but when you're working through it for the first few, year or whatever after you break up, I think that it would have been extremely reasonable for Katie to be like, "Dude, you're gonna date Tori," and then be like, "Ariana, she's 24 and she's so, like, sexy and gregarious and, nice all the time, and I'm Tequila Katie," or whatever. Like, she could have gone down any hello, I'm projecting, my god. I have no idea what any of those things would be like. But what I'm saying is she didn't chop down Tori. They were like, "Pff, let's have some fun with this. Let's see what happens."
Yeah, because some
And
time and space had happened, and, like,
right.
she reminds Joe, who just, like, ridiculously, ju tries to defend and justify everything. They had newly separated, they were not
Mhm.
divorced. Joe sent her one text where she made, like, a Bieber reference, and then
So
promptly
gross, dude.
and I appreciated Lala for saying, like, "It doesn't matter if you consider it moving in. You lived under the same roof and slept, with, him. So what?" And yeah, and Joe, I wrote, "She's just like Sandoval," because she says, "I'm gonna apologize to Katie. I just want this to be over." And I was like, "It doesn't work like that. You have to allow time and space for people to heal, and then you have to work to regain their trust." That is the order of events. So, and very few people have the patience to do that, and those are the people who blame other people for being irrational or demanding or a bitch. And, like, fuck Joe. Like, that you don't get to do that. Like, apologizing isn't a band-aid. Apologizing is the beginning of a long process. If you hurt someone, you have to give them space to allow for forgiveness, and then you have more work to do. And that's the part that a lot of people resent and don't do. And that's when they fall out of my life, because
100.
yeah.
100.
Or they get put in my life in a different way, the way
Right.
James has recategorized
Right.
Sandoval. It's
Yes.
just like, "I see who you are now. Okay.
Yep. I know what I can and cannot rely on you for. I know
Yep.
what or what not you're capable of. Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, she set herself up for failing by just breaking that cardinal rule about apologies.
Mhm.
If
I'm
it's
sorry if, and Katie
I'm
was having
sorry
none of
if,
it.
right.
She's like,
It's
"Just
like
sorry." Just say sorry.
no matter how much the other person on the cosmic scoreboard owes you that apology, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. So Joe has a ways to go as well.
Well, and later when Schwartz says to Katie, "I don't like a quid pro quo," it's like, well, you brought Joe over there for just that. You brought Joe over there to apologize to get an apology. That's exactly what that is. So,
right, right.
and Joe tries to absolve herself with semantics, saying, "I didn't move in." And then she tries a tactic saying, "Well, I just wasn't thinking of you, Katie." And God bless Katie for saying, "As a woman, you should have. You should have thought of me." And then Katie just said, "Go find anyone else to stay with Joe." And Joe goes, "No, let him go." And it's like,
It was like
you
5 minutes,
they
dude.
weren't divorced yet. Like,
God.
yeah, it was, and she laid it
Yeah.
out there and said she was newly separated and trying to disentangle 12 years of her life from that man. And, I will point out that yes, Joe sent a text saying Bieber and I support you, but Joe didn't send a text to say like, "Hey, I'm considering spending a significant amount of time at your ex's. Are you comfortable with that? I know this is a really hard time for you." She didn't send any communication about that. So, like, nobody, no. Joe leaves, and I'm fine with that forever. I can't.
My God. My
And
God.
Schwartz is such an ass. He's saying to Katie, "Ease up a little,"
Oh
in that,
God. I
like,
was
smile,
so
"You'll be
grossed
pretty
out.
if you smile" tone, just like, and Katie says, "Just keep it away from me." And claims she's laying out an ultimatum. And she's like, "No, I just said, basically, I just set a boundary.
Yeah,
An
she set a
ultimatum,
boundary.
that's not an ultimatum."
Again, I understand that they work together. They are castmates at the end of the fucking day. They're castmates and I know that they're in on the whole thing. Like, they know that they're divorced. They know that they're having conversations, and we're watching their conversations, even though they're exes, whatever. But like, I just fucking went off so much that I forgot what it was something about boundaries, I think.
He claimed it was an ultimatum, like, "If you
No,
do this, then,
e-
there's a consequence," as opposed to just her saying, "Keep Joe away from me," and that
oh
is
my
just a
God.
boundary.
Yeah, it's just a boundary. It's just a boundary. It's not a quid pro quo.
No.
Shut up. Dude, Schwartz, like, don't say shit until you've go to the place where Rachel went or similar. Pick up a book, go to therapy. Again, these men are not going to change until they are at rock bottom. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just say these men, like Lala too, whatever. Sheena,
Yeah,
Brock.
and it's just Schwartz, again, just codependent is, as an illness, is exhibiting, on him because he brings Joe over, there's silence, and then he goes, "Don't you wanna say something, Joe? Do you wanna say
It
something?"
was so gross.
Codependent, enmeshment, like, just live and let live, man, like, don't direct because look what it got everyone. Joe stormed out upset, Katie stormed out upset, and you're like, "Women." It's like,
Yeah,
"No,
totally.
you. You,
Totally.
sir."
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Uh, let's see. The next what
I
I
mean, Sandoval introduced himself to Dan is sort of
yeah.
yeah, and,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Before that, Sandoval tells Brock, "Thank you for sticking up for me at lunch. Schwartz told me you did that." And then Brock tells him he needs to step up. And Sheena tells us in her confessional that she wishes Ariana could see how stuck she is between her and Sandoval. She doesn't care. You don't get to do that right now. It's if this friendship means as much to you as you say that it does, pull back on Schwartz. Like, really? Is it that? But
on Sandoval, you
on
mean?
Sandoval,
Yeah?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yes, on
yeah.
Sandoval. But it's like, well, Ariana's not giving me a sound guy. Ariana is not helping me join the 27s. Ariana's not gonna set me up on tour with her at Chicago. Ariana got to do Dancing with the Stars, and I didn't.
Envy, man. It is a deadly sin.
Yes. And then Sandoval comes to introduce himself to Dan, says he's heard nice things, and he wishes them both so much luck.
The best of luck.
The
Aw,
best of
thanks,
luck.
buddy. What a
So
real class
gross,
act.
dude.
Shut up.
So
Dan is
gross.
so lovely, and he does keep his hands clasped. So, Sandoval does not get a handshake, and I thought that was
He's speaking volumes without saying a word.
Oh, and I also love Dan when Ariana was saying in the prior scene, she's like, "Ugh, Schwartz keeps bringing Joe around Katie," and Dan just goes, "I don't know who that is," and Ariana goes, "It's a long story," and he goes, "Okay,"
Yep, totally.
and,
Like,
like, not like, "Tell me, dish girl," he
yeah,
was just like,
exactly.
"Shrug, next," and I loved him
Totally.
for
I did
it.
too. I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
And, he handled this beautifully, and then Allie, in her discomfort, says, "Well, I guess that had to happen," and Ariana, this is where she starts putting her foot down, and then the rest of this episode is her just firmly planting it. She's like, it did not have to happen. He is not in my life. I'm not a cog. I'm not here to be a cog in Sandoval's redemption arc." And then she does a really nice job of following through with that and taking care of herself and, really triggering Lala, so great. And then Schwartz does advise Sandoval again in his codependent way. He advises Sandoval against talking to Ariana tonight. But you can tell Sandoval has it in his head that it's finale time and he's gonna give it a go. It went so well with Dan. Why not?
It made me think, like, Tom's insistence on doing this at this event when Ariana has made it so clear, "Don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me." We've seen it. We've seen her say it to him. If it's urgent, it's not important. And if it's important, it's not urgent. There was no reason why anyone could read that room, read those castmates together and know it's not the right time. It's not the right time. She doesn't even make eye contact with him, but
Well, and
he
like she says,
had
yeah,
right. He had to do it. He
for
had to
for
do it that night.
production
Right.
only. Like she said, we do live under the same roof. He could have left a note. He could have at any time he did have access to me off camera. But he chose the finale show night to try and to ambush her with that sneak attack when she's talking to Scheana. He really made a bad show. Speaking of bad
He's
shows, Scheana
yes.
performed.
Oh, God bless. Yeah,
She's
yeah,
fine. It was cute. The song's cute. It's fine. Everyone looked like they were having a good time. And then
yeah.
Ariana is a good friend because she goes out of her way to go over, not wait for Scheana to come to her. She's like, I'm going to go congratulate Scheana. And she gets, no good deed goes unpunished because Scheana just initiates a conversation about how rad Sandoval is for flying Hassan out. And Scheana pitches that she, wants to see Tom through a growth journey. And Ariana says, can I ask you a favor? Don't talk to me about that. and and that it's as simple as that. She's not putting pressure on Scheana. She's saying, I'm asking you a favor, which is actually a boundary I already set, but let's just reiterate that. And then Scheana makes this weak ass argument about Ariana. You say you want no contact, but then you want apologies. And Ariana clarifies, I don't want him to speak to me ever again. He's not capable of understanding the enormity of the harm he's caused. So no apology would be sufficient anyway. So what I want is no contact. And Scheana claims she'll always have Ariana's back, but also doesn't want to cut Tom Sandoval out forever. And Ariana assures her she's family and doesn't want to lose her. But it is, she's gonna.
Oh, man. I mean, he can't be changing if he doesn't acknowledge what he did and the profoundness of what he did, and he hasn't done that, and it's been over a year. He hasn't
And
done it
yeah,
anywhere. He was just on Watch What Happens Live on
justifying it.
Tuesday night and had the opportunity to say it. He
And I
has
listened to
a
his bullshit
podcast,
podcast,
right,
yeah,
like
in real time,
right,
which means it's current. And he
right.
does nothing but, like you said, double down on every bad decision and defense he's created. So he's a lost cause as for
Dude.
right now. And then he ambushes them. He approaches he approaches like a great white attacking, like how they shoot up from out of the shadows and just like
He
clamp
planned it.
down.
Yeah, he
It was
was like
crazy.
he
He
was
came out of
yeah, it
nowhere.
was gross.
And
It
to
was
Sheena's credit,
gross.
she did stop him from going after Ariana because he was like, Ariana, I just want to boo. And she was like out of there. And Scheana was like, Tom, don't. So, and then that's when he whines, I just wanted to apologize. And this is when Ariana absolutely schools this producer. And this producer's like, don't do this. Don't leave like this. In this really authoritative, like ugly dad tone. And she just says, he doesn't care if I die in a ditch or if I got a fucking deadly STD the way he was fucking around behind my back. And she explains to this man what non-informed consent is, which is him sleeping around and her, the partner, unaware that his junk is out there contracting anything and recklessly risking her physical, sexual, and mental health by sticking it in her at the same time. And the producer backed down, but he had a real look on his face that made me wonder about Jeremiah.
I did too.
He's a
I'm
producer, like
he
he wants to
is
do his
right.
job, but she said something really impactful. And at that moment, I would have become a human being and said, like,
I would have
whoa.
just been like, "Oh shit, yes, you're right, you're
Yeah.
right." I no doubt there is something in her contract for her to come back this season that
Hmm.
says shit like that isn't gonna happen. She's not gonna be ambushed by him. I bet you anything there's something like that in there, and
Well,
he
I bet there's something
yeah,
in there that, and I think that's what Lala is reacting to of like, no matter what, you've come to the finale and you stay to the end, no matter what. And I think that's what Lala got all pissed off about. And, Ariana's integrity is more important than her place on a call sheet. So
right, right. Ugh,
and I just think that non-informed consent thing is like a really, like lots of people talk about cheating in terms of like the betrayal and the lying, but like that was one of the things that I was most furious. Well, I shouldn't expose. Anyways, there, have been people in my life whose partners stepped out on them without them knowing. And that enraged me. I was like, you risked her life. You for years, you risked her life. And you don't care because you're getting your rocks off. But like you're so selfish that you're not aware that you bring back into your bedroom every single genitalia piece that you touched out there in the world. And like,
mhm.
we are so damn lucky that there wasn't a larger consequence. So lucky. And this person who perpetrated this is very lucky as well because I was
Totally.
prepared to, you know, do something. And I didn't. I worked in therapy to get over this anger, and I wouldn't perpetrate anything on this person. But it's a piece
Oh,
of cheating that
yeah,
doesn't get talked
yeah,
about enough.
yeah,
The
totally.
non-informed
Yeah.
consent of like
Yep.
you do sleep with your partner, but you don't have all the information. They're the only one who knows
Yeah.
that other bodies are being brought into this
Yeah.
bed. So,
Yeah. Dude,
anyways,
seriously.
I
Seriously.
loved her for that. Yay, Ariana.
Oh, God. Yeah. Um, we're back to a
Yeah.
little wrap-up convo with Tom and Sheena, right? That's the next note I have. Is that you too?
This to me is just, yeah, the
Yeah.
cascading uh action into hell where, yeah, Sheena tells Sandoval that Ariana thinks he's performative, and Sandoval tries to perform, saying she knows me well enough to know I'm not performative. And then, yeah, Sheena says, "Don't make me look like an idiot, Tom." And I just wrote too late.
Honestly. Honestly. I mean,
And
he
then,
was
oh yeah,
yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, he wasn't my boyfriend and I knew he was performative, you know?
he admitted it. They all admitted it at the finale last year when Ariana told Rachel, "I bet he told you this. I bet he told you to do this and say this and keep this off camera and use this then because that's what he did to me." And Rachel has since confirmed that fact. So he is performative. This show is a performance for him. And, so he boo-hoos to Scheana saying she knows me well enough to know I'm not performative, then immediately turns to Billy Lee and says, "You know who's performative? Ariana's performative. She doesn't like any of these motherfuckers." So immediately enraged. No, nothing, just he's disgusting. And then we get Ariana's confessional where she says the truth. Like, whatever he's trying to do is not for me, it's for him. He wants 30 seconds with the audience to complete this fallacy of a redemption arc. And I don't play video games, but I loved this analogy where she's like, I'm the final boss in the video game and I'm keeping him from, winning his redemption. And so he's having a tantrum because he can't access her. And then
And
she
then
calls a lift, and I wrote, fuck the producers for that.
honestly,
Get the girl a car. Come
right,
on.
right. I mean, she had to take care of herself. I maintain, I bet that there was something that something was violated. Something like a boundary that she set, like, I am never to be alone with this person or whatever. And they were like, oh, whatever, let's go get this on camera instead of saying, hey, Tom, we talked about this. Like, everyone wants to put their boundaries out first. When you're going to be playing together, know the rules. He broke them. The producers probably knew that he was about to break them, and they didn't give a flying fuck. I
Yeah.
bet
Well,
that's what
and
yeah.
either way, just as a human being, he snuck attacked. Like, he came
Mhm.
up and was like, "Hey, Sheena, great show. Anyway, Ariana," as opposed to coming up and saying, "Ariana, may I speak with you for a second?" Giving her the opportunity to say,
Right.
"No, never, rotten hell." But he didn't do that. He did this weird he did. He is so manipulative and
He's so
disgusting.
transparent too. It's just like, no one's getting fooled by you, dude.
And then because he goes off here and goes, "If you don't wanna film with your ex, then don't be on the show. Don't sit on your lazy ass and fucking do nothing." Oh my god, this man. And then he's yelling at Sheena, and then says he's sorry he made it hard for her, and it's gonna be hard for anyone who stands by him. They're gonna get a lot of hate for it. And I wrote, "And so he buys them things to make it hard for them to leave and feel indebted to stay."
Exactly.
And that's it.
And here's what he does, and this is what I can't stand when people do this, and I have done it too when I have been in an argument with someone and I want to, like, just get one death blow by manipulation in, you know? I'm not perfect. I'm not fucking perfect. It's like when he goes up to Scheana and Lala, his friends, his allies this season, and says, she talks shit about you guys too. It's like, so let me hurt your guys' feelings, but what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to do behind the fucking curtain is make her look like shit. But really what I'm doing is making me look like an asshole and hurting your guys' feelings in an attempt to use the situation to my benefit. He's
Well,
a scumbag.
he is, but also I was like, "That's so weak." Like,
It is
everyone
weak.
talks shit with their partner behind everyone's back. That's the part it's part of processing life,
Right.
and if you're on a TV show with these people, I'm sure it's amplified times a million. What a shock that she talks shit behind their back. You know who
Right.
else talks shit behind people's back? You, Tom. Look what you're doing right
Yes.
now. Like, you're
Right.
talking shit about
Right.
Ariana, but it's just the nature of the beast. So, like,
Right.
please don't pretend like you're some righteous beacon of morality, sir. If you recall, we're in this position because of you.
This whole season is because of you. This whole
Yes.
fucking season.
And I'm
God
with Ariana
damn.
and her friends. I just want to get out of there and go to
Oh
Applebee's.
my God.
I love them for
Yes.
it.
Me
They loaded
too.
into a Lyft and they all went to Applebee's and lived happily ever after, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. Got huge buckets of refillable Sprite. Who knows? Yeah. Oh, and then Lala starts breaking the fourth wall with a sledgehammer. And she says that this happened to Ariana. The whole world rallied behind her, and now she thinks she's Beyonce.
Where the did that come from? That was completely out of left field. I do not see
Completely.
her acting like
Never.
a diva at all. Did
Never.
you this whole night was about Scheana. This whole
Mhm.
she's done nothing. This is where Lala is just out of her lane
Completely.
by a lot.
By a lot, and it's all fueled by jealousy. I mean, to compare her to the world rallied around her, like, "No, we're not gonna rally around you, Lala. You talk shit about Amber Childress, when things were good with you and Randall." This is Randall's,
Yes.
first wife that he did dirty and played dirty with, and now, Lala has gone through it with Randall, and she's like, "Oh, shit, it happened to me too, so I'm." It's like no one rallied around her when it happened to her with Randall, but because we all watched her go into it. When Tom, we watched her show up, and we watched him show up for a while until he wasn't fulfilling his narcissistic needs,
And
probably.
again, we were shocked by Tom
We
Sandoval
were
cheating. No one was shocked
shocked,
that Randall cheated. No one
shocked,
was shocked that Jax cheated.
shocked.
So anyone who thinks they should get the same cash and prizes or whatever, you're not paying attention to your own choices. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think Ariana thinks she's Beyonce, and I think
Fuck
Lala is an
no.
a-hole for putting that out there. And she says she can't wrap her head around not wanting to shoot with Sandoval when they live under the same roof. And Sandoval chimes in like, "Yeah, you have to have the tough conversations. It's not easy." So this is his line of defense of like, for this show, this is what we do. He said it a million times. "You think I want to go up and have that conversation? I don't, but I did it because I'm a reality TV hero." And then Lala says, "I've never been around someone who got cheated on and suddenly becomes God." And like, that's just not what happened. She got cheated on and she's talented and people wanted to support her. So they found ways to use her talents and bring them to the forefront. And so she got on Dancing with the Stars and went really far. And she got on Chicago and sold tickets at a rate higher than they'd had in decades. And she's going back this summer. And so it's not just pity. And I guess in that way, she is more Beyonce, is like her actual talents have been realized on the heels of like a trauma that she will never recover from. You will never trust anyone the way you once did, friends and partners included, because her friends are not trustworthy either. And that is a
Yeah.
huge loss.
Yeah. Agreed. Oh,
Sad.
god damn. 100%. 100%. Jesus. Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, um, Lala continues, "Yes, you cheated. You did a shitty thing, but you didn't kill somebody." And just to piggyback off what you just said, he did kill things. He killed trust. He killed hope. He killed dreams. They bought a house together. She was freezing her eggs.
Also,
She
it's just so reductive. Is that the only line? Is that
Right.
the only thing anyone's allowed to get upset about? And if that's the case, I would posit he killed the dog because when
I would
Ariana went away, he didn't give it medication and then it died. So I
I
don't
had
know,
that note
Lala. I don't
too.
know if you're right. But if that's the only bar, if we can only be upset and walk out of a situation that we don't like. If someone has been murdered, then okay, Lala, okay, let's see
Right.
how you hold to
Oh my
that. Like,
god. Oh my
that was just
god.
so weirdly out of line. Like, she is off the rails here. Like, this is a mental break kind of moment because she's not making any sense. It's just rage. And yeah, and
Unmitigated dry drunk rage
yeah, that's what it is. You're right. I
on
keep
yeah,
I keep dodging that, but you're right. That is a dry drunk.
she's full dry drunk, dude.
She's not, yeah, there's no alcohol in her system, but her brain is still extremely affected by that way of thinking. And yeah, I wrote here that Lala delivers the most full hip speech in history as they play a weird song about like painting herself like a clown and being high like a balloon. The song choice was really intense. It
It was
was
like
just
knockoff Billie Eilish or something, right?
I don't know what it was, but it was so noticeable. I
It was
was
so
just like,
noticeable.
I really want to go there with them in this montage, but I'm so stuck on this woman going like, "You paint your face like a clown and you're high like a balloon." And I was like,
Oh
"What?"
my god. Oh my
But they
god.
do show a montage of all of them, and you do see they were babies when this whole thing started.
Dude,
But Lala says there's a
totally.
responsibility of living your life on camera. You have to be truthful even when it's extremely uncomfortable. And I was like, Rand much? Like, you lied for years and you're still not truthful. And why does this apply to Ariana and not Tom Sandoval? He was having an affair with Raquel and nobody's like, you needed to be honest. Everyone's just like, oh, I
'Cause
just, she's,
she went to LVP's. She went to Villa Rosa while Ken and Lisa were still living there, and she drank some of LVP's, you're not supposed to make the
oh, the
She
Jonestown
right, yes, I will
drink
be
of choice.
respectful, right, yes. She here's what she did. LVP brewed up something special, served it to her in an English teacup with a rose on it, and Lala drank it, and Scheana drank it, and the Toms obviously still drink it because she is the key to their livelihood with one of their establishments, and it's
And
like,
it's
so
because they have a taste for it too.
right,
You or I would
right,
drink it and spit it out, but these people are
God,
like, "Yeah, nothing's my fault.
right,
Yeah, I am a victim. Yeah, she is breaching her contract, which is
right.
more important than her taking care of her mental and physical health." Like,
Oh my
ew.
god, Lala's delusional too. She feels like she's been honest about what's going on in her life. I have never fucking seen it. What she excels at is calling other people out for the same shit that she refuses to do herself, to look at herself. And she does a bad job of it, I would posit.
Well, and Ariana has always been like a more conservative personality type, but she's not hidden anything. Again, Tom is the only one who, well, no, Tom did that and Lala did that. But like Ariana talked about her dad's death. And to that point, she helped Lala through her dad's death. Like, she helped support Lala through that loss. And she shared about her body image issues and she's cried on camera when, and left the girls' trip because her dog was dying. Like, what more like, and like you're saying, I don't know anything about Lala. She presents like a mother. She talks about being a mother. She talks about being wronged by Rand, but I don't know like, if I ran into Ariana, I feel like I could exhale and have a conversation and not feel weird. If I ran into Lala, I feel threatened because I really don't know who you are. I know who
Right.
you want me to think you are, but I don't believe that's the whole picture. And I think
Totally.
that something scary is going on underneath there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It'll
she's
we'll see
projecting
it.
to a degree
Big
that's, like,
time.
intolerable to
Big
me
time.
now. I'm just done. She lies, she hides, she puts on the cool girl attitude, she's avoiding grief, like, I don't wanna hear it from her
I
anymore. They
don't
gave her
either.
so much airtime here, and I was like, "Turn it
100%.
off."
I know. I know. She says that she doesn't think that Tom and Ariana were honest about their relationship. I mean, it's possible, but it doesn't seem like it. I wonder who she heard that from. Did she hear it from Tom? Did she witness it firsthand?
I stand
What?
by, Tom wasn't honest about his relationship. He was having an affair for 8
Yes,
months.
yes,
So
yes,
don't
yes,
say
yes.
Tom and Ariana, that's not
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. You're
There's only
right.
like, come on, dude. And
Yeah,
maybe they weren't, but neither were you. And so it's just like, what is the standard? And can you try to live up to it for a second before you force it on everyone else? Ugh.
totally. Totally. I have a note that says Katie says, "Yay, boundaries," and I don't remember what she said to make me write that down, but
She said that because Lala, is basically saying it's breach of contract for Ariana to storm
oh,
out like this. We all have
yeah,
to stay. She has to stay. And Katie says that if the peace in your real life needs to be protected, then you stand your ground and you do
right.
what's right for you.
Those are called internal fucking boundaries, and they are supposed to be more important than anything else, including your fucking job.
And again, this is where I'm glad it's on reality
Me
TV. I'm
too.
glad that they caught it on camera. I'm glad that Ariana did the hard thing because it is really
Mhm.
hard. And look what happens. They do talk about you behind your back when you walk out. Like that's my biggest fear. And it does happen, but it's still the best choice. So
Totally,
great.
100%, 100%.
And
Alright.
Ariana, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm sure we're gonna say the same thing. She says that Tom only wants to apologize on camera. So, like, what does that tell you? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's shown his truest colors. And then we get the closing voiceover where Schwartz goes, "That was a fucking plot twist." And Sandoval says, "I love it. It's good for me." Ha 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 ha. And I was
ugly,
just sick to my stomach.
ugly,
Sick.
repulsive, and repugnant.
Oh,
Dude,
God.
this
And I
yeah.
can't wait for the
I
reunion.
can't wait for the reunion too. I can't wait for the reunions. Yeah, because it sounds like Ariana wasn't watching the episodes, like, she didn't or did they none of them got to watch the reunion, or none of them got to watch the finale until right before they shot the reunion. I
Yeah, and
think
I
they
think
kept it from them, right?
they all watched the last 5 minutes together. So they could watch it individually up to the point where Lala lost her shit. So that I think that's what, everyone was talking about, the big reunion drama and how Katie and Lala will never speak again and all this stuff. And now you can see why. If they all had to watch that together in the
Yeah,
room
yeah,
and then talk about it, that's pretty damning.
totally.
I don't have any room in my life for Lala either, except whenever she's on my TV on a Bravo show.
Right?
So there you go.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Oh my god. I don't want anything that Lala has. I don't want anything that Lala has, and
No.
I
But mostly because I don't know who she is or what she has.
yeah, you're right. You're
She's just
right.
mean and judgmental, and I see no softness in her. I'm terrified of her. She's all
100%.
porcupine bristles.
Totally. She makes me real itchy.
Yeah.
Real itchy. Um, wow, we have another that was another supersize. I know last week was long, probably because I talked about Sex and the City too fucking much, but at least this one we all had this was all Vanderpump. I mean, the last 2 episodes of this season were
And this was a longer
chock
episode,
full.
I think. I swear it was more than an hour. I feel like it
It
felt like
was
more than an hour.
53 minutes on
Oh,
Peacock without
really?
commercials.
Oh, okay. So,
So,
yeah,
without commercials, yeah, that was the unedited, uncensored one. I do have, like, a little snippet about Bravo news that came out yesterday, where
please.
all roads lead to Bravo. So, I think probably most people know by now that, so Ohtani, who used to be on the Los Angeles Angels, who now he's the pitcher, right? Is he a pitcher? Fuck, I don't know. He's on the Dodgers, and he is Japanese, and his interpreter was recently arrested and pressed charges because he was stealing money from him and using it for,
Gambling
gambling,
purposes, right?
right.
Yeah.
So, one of the people that, the interpreter, uh, gave the stolen money to was Ryan, who is Jen's now fiancé from The Real Housewives of Orange County.
I believe that.
I
Jeez.
cannot reveal my source, unfortunately. However, I can give a little bit of okay, and the thing so Ryan is part of this federal investigation, and he had to pay off gambling debts. It was probably illegal gambling debts, and, he used stolen money to pay it with. So in exchange for immunity, he is now testifying to the feds about Otani's interpreter. So, again, all roads lead to Bravo. So, I know someone who was now there's 3 gambling meccas in the United States: Reno, Vegas, and Atlantic City. I'm not gonna specify where this one took place. However, my source met Ryan from Orange County, at dinner after this group of people had left a casino. And what Ryan said as he's being introduced to new people is he was down $100,000 from gambling that day. That is a PK level debts. And so that's really, and that the guy seemed like real, like unclean. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he gives off a real skeevy vibe on Orange County. We can all see it a
Yeah.
miles away. He is like that in real life too. He was a scumbag, according to my source. So, and the fact that, listen, I'm also like like one episode away from the season finale of the first season of The Sopranos right now. So there's lots of talk about who's a rat, who's going to turn over, who's wearing a wire. And it's like, of course, Ryan flipped. You know, people like Ryan are gonna they're gonna rat people out. And listen, no one wants to fucking go to jail. I get it. I can't imagine what
Yes.
it's like to be in that situation, but
I mean, just so anyone knows,
dude,
I would flip in a heartbeat. So, like,
yeah, I mean,
don't involve me in your schemes because I
yeah,
guarantee I will rat
yeah,
you out for my own
yeah,
comfort as fast as I
yeah.
can. So,
But like, it's just so gross. So my source sent me, um, well, our mutual person sent me the link from ESPN yesterday saying, "I think that you're gonna find this interesting." And I was like, "Holy shit." It just all goes back to Bravo. The only thing that the article got wrong, that ESPN got wrong, is that they referred to Ryan as a reality TV star.
I
Someone ain't doing their
mean,
homework at ESPN. I would say peripheral,
yeah,
peripheral, peripheral,
castmate.
right. Anyway, so, yeah, I know that it's probably unsatisfying to get like, if I can't verify who the source is, like, I understand that you can take it with a grain of salt. I'm just saying that this person had no idea that they were interacting with someone that was on, The Real Housewives of Orange County.
What a mess. I'm gonna
Right.
have to look that up. I didn't
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
that's
I
yeah, that's a
know.
huge scandal. Like, that
It's
is a
massive,
massive
and
disaster.
I'm so curious to see, is Jen going to stay with him? Dude, $100,000 in gambling debts?
I mean, it does mean he had 100,000 to lose at one point,
Yeah, but where
so
did he get it?
I don't know, that's a really good point.
He might have gotten it, like, ill-gotten. I don't, this
Yeah, no,
man
he does not
is,
seem nothing about him has seemed, like,
no.
above board in any way,
No, not in
so
any way, shape, or
I can't
form.
say I was surprised except for the fact that I'm surprised it's so high profile. You know what I mean? It's so
Yeah,
A-list. His
it's,
scandal is so A-list.
oh
I'm
my
almost
god.
impressed if
I
I
mean,
wasn't so
it's
horrified.
Otani's infinitely more A-list than,
But that's what I mean, that
right,
he's attached
right,
to
that
an
he's 1
A-list
degree
scandal.
away from, right. Oh, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Yeah, I know. And I feel, it's just, yeah, it's weird that I have, like, 1 degree of separation from,
Ugh.
and this group of people, there were two 2 Ryans in that group that night, and they referred to Ryan from, Orange County as Tan Ryan because he was significantly tanner than the other Ryan. So this person always refers to, Jen's fiancé as Tan Ryan, and it just makes me laugh so fucking hard.
That's
Tan Ryan.
hilarious.
So anyway,
He is tan.
yep. If I get any more tea and can guarantee that my source will not be figured out, I will be happy to share it with everybody. More
Oh
to
my
be
god.
revealed. Anyway, Margaret, what else did you
Wild.
watch this week?
I watched all of my Bravo shows, well, not all of them, but I did watch Summer House and Below Deck and whatever. I'm obsessed with The Jinx. I think it's the best show on television
Oh
right
my
now.
god.
I cannot believe they got a season 2. I never thought they could beat season 1, and yet every single episode has my jaw is on the floor, and I'm, like, paralyzed for 30 minutes after it ends going like, "What is
Yep,
happening?"
totally,
It's
totally.
amazing.
It is. It
And then
is.
I watched the Netflix Tom Brady roast, the goat roast, and woof. It took me, first of all, some of the writing is so incredibly sharp, and some of the comedians were absolutely incredible. It is not my brand of humor. It took me 5 sittings to watch it. It is 3 hours. It is
Wow.
3 full hours,
Wow.
but it's so mean. And I can't take it. I don't know. I used to be able to, maybe it was just really long and it was relentless. And Rob Gronkowski was like drunk, and Kevin Hart mentioned he might also be like on coke or something. And when funny people, people who aren't trained in performing comedy in front of an audience get uncomfortable, like really weird shit happens. And it had moments of absolute brilliance and moments of like really weird off the rails shit. But I think that's why people love a roast so great. And Kevin Hart was lovely. He made sure to compliment the comics that got up there. Nikki Glazer in particular, who was the only woman and had gotten a ton of shit leading up to this, with people going like, why is she doing that? And she destroyed. Again, so mean, but her delivery was impeccable. She absolutely killed it. She's the one I remember of all of them. And
I'm not surprised.
lots of them were great, but she was just impeccable. And Kevin Hart, to his credit, was like, you were amazing. Like, he just said it on the, like, he was a great host. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about this so long, because I went to Michigan with Tom Brady. And so it is really interesting to see the different places we are in our lives. And he's had a ton of plastic surgery and it looks weird right now. And hopefully his face will settle. But it was interesting. I don't know what to say. There you go. What else did you watch?
Let's see. I'm just pissed because I heard about the roast. I mean, for the people wondering why Nikki Glazer was there, she's at every roast. She's like the she's a she's a prerequisite, you know? Just like Jeff Ross, who I can't stand. I find him repugnant. But
She's so much better than him. I mean,
oh,
she
100%.
absolutely destroyed.
I
It's
bet.
worth watching just her
I
set if
bet.
you can't take 3
I'm
hours.
pissed that they took out the booing of Kim Kardashian, and I was fucking schadenfreude that she got booed.
Why?
Because she sucks. That family sucks, and they are a force of destruction and toxicity. And talk about dishonest. That sex tape was released by Chris. This is all unfolding the way Chris wanted it to unfold. Kim, Chloe, her sisters, the mother, they're all contributing to, uh, impossible body standards, A. B, like nothing about their posts are honest. They're probably responsible for the whole fucking filter bullshit that everyone feels the need to do. And they're vapid as fuck. Like,
Oh,
what?
I don't
I can't
agree.
stand that family.
She's getting innocent people out of jail.
Okay,
She
once or twice.
If it's your family member,
No, and I get that. I get that. But this is not her. She's not this it's not her like her mission. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, but I mean, I guess I know everything that is wrong with the Kardashians, and I remain an apologist for the fact that as a family, they turn their back on no one. Their dad transitioned and he's still welcome in that family, and even though there are problems, working out those relationships, nobody said like, "Ooh, you're transitioning, forget you." It's, like Lamar Odom was abandoned in a coke den dying, and they went to his bedside. Scott Disick, both of his parents died, and they said, "You're ours forever." Like, there's something, and trust me, I understand everything that's wrong with them, but like, I haven't gotten anyone out of jail. Like, I haven't.
Are
And
you
I
friends with Ivanka Trump?
no, I didn't know she's friends with Ivanka
She's friends with
Trump.
Ivanka
But
Trump.
what is a friendship anyway? And she is married to Kanye West, which is a little complicated these days. But she got rid of him. I don't know. It was short. It was funny. I in the same way that I appreciate Scheana getting on stage and doing something difficult, Kim Kardashian got on stage in front of an auditorium of people who hate her
I wish I
and
would have been there.
delivered. Yeah.
Honestly.
No, it sounds
I
like she got hers, like, and then she did look like she was gonna die at the Met Gala. Did you see her look at the Met Gala?
That's what I'm saying.
What? She looked like she was dying, though.
That's
Like,
what
it
I'm
didn't
saying.
look like fashion.
No.
I was like, someone
No,
Release her.
I'm
She can't
sorry.
breathe.
There's nothing
Yeah.
redeeming, nothing redeeming. They fetishize black men. I fucking can't with this family. Ivanka Trump, the weekend that it came out that, where was this happening? Oh God, see, I'm anyone who is friends with someone who sup who who associates with someone that was okay with kids being in fucking cages can fuck right off. Fuck right off.
But I mean, so you're saying Kim Kardashian is responsible for Donald
I'm not
Trump's.
saying he's responsible for it, but I'm just saying that when you don't speak out against it and you
Yeah.
have that much power and that much of a platform, then you are complicit.
No, she is problematic for sure, but I will again, like, her speaking out is kinda like, who cares? Her actually getting people out of jail who were wrongly convicted is of interest to me because
I
that's an
hear that.
actual act. Because
That
I'm
is.
enough people are online saying, like, "Don't do this," and then they go back to their cushy backyards and float on their, pool swan and don't do
Is
anything, like,
she
at
still
least.
doing it though? I don't know. I don't trust one thing they do to have clean motives. I just don't. I just
Yeah,
don't.
I understand that. I understand that. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. I do think her law thing is legitimate. It connects her to her dad. Like, I watch that show too, and she talks about it a lot, you know? But I also say that we all saw Robert Kardashian get cancer when the OJ verdict came down. Like, when they said
Yeah.
not guilty, I think his body was like, "Bye." And that's terrible, but I don't he didn't look comfortable with the case he was putting on, but like you're saying, if you don't if you believe in something, then you stand and take action in directions that support that, and I don't
Uh-uh.
know.
They get not one shred of compassion, empathy, or what word am I looking for? Respect? I got nothing. I got
Maybe not
nothing for
respect,
them.
but no like they did, their
No.
dad died.
Everyone's dad dies. Everyone's dad dies. That is not a unique experience to them. Everyone's dad
No.
dies, and they were little, and that sucks. They were
Yes.
children. I don't feel happy for people that lose a parent as a child or any time, unless that's what unless that's a good thing for the kid, unless the parent is such a toxic piece of shit that they deserve to be taken out of the kid's life. It happens. They are incredibly privileged. They,
Yes.
their private jets all over. They are, oh my God, everyone else in the fucking county of Los Angeles and the surrounding areas have to be on water restrictions, and they're exempt from that. They don't care about anything but
Yeah,
consumption
that's
and
true.
editing their fucking pictures. I
Yeah, but there's that chicken and the egg argument of I mean, they're certainly perpetuating it, but, like, it is also what's expected. Like, I'm not on social media enough to see all the pictures, but I certainly see the articles when they get their photoshopping wrong and, like, Chloe's thigh is, like, off on the beach somewhere and the rest of her somewhere else. Like, it is a
It's
weird.
so
But it's
weird.
also not just them. I am occasionally on TikTok, and that place is crazy. It's
100% it
all
is.
I mean, but I don't think we can blame the Kardashians for that. There's
I
a hunger in the world that is feeding that,
I understand what you're saying. I am just saying that, God, I wanna find the study that says that we were never supposed to be watching ourselves online as much as we do with, like,
right?
posting
Vanity.
reels or videos or TikToks or whatever. Like, we're not supposed to be looking at ourselves this much outside of a mirror while we're getting ready or whatever. Uh, they made it a business, and they, I believe, are responsible for a lot of the ways that young people are are, hating themselves. I just no, I
I hate
don't.
myself, and that is from, Cosmopolitan, that's
I
from Kate
hear you.
Moss,
I hear
like,
you.
I think it's just, like, the human condition, and then it gets aggravated and I do believe they are a source of aggravation for that kinda thing, but I don't know. I also they also Kim Kardashian was the first unapologetic reality TV star, and I
Hmm.
do wonder if part of me holds on to that of, like, when people are like, "You don't do anything, you're talentless," and she's like, "Correct." and you can't stop watching. And I was like, "Ooh,
But then
okay."
she turns around and says, "No one wants to work anymore. Fuck all the way
Oh,
off."
I mean, honestly, that was ridiculous. Like, there's plenty they are so out of touch, it's hilarious. It's absolutely absurd, and and I I don't know, if I were in the same position I don't know, I'm me, I'm not them, but, like, I don't know. I envy their level of financial comfort, but the rest of their lives are real messy. They lost their dad. Everyone's relationships have blown up in like really gnarly ways. These are not regular divorces. These are
Well,
like, oh, you had a kid out of wedlock the same day we adopted a kid. Oh, your husband suddenly went off his meds and decided to preach anti-Semitism. Like these
right.
are not none of it is like I don't want those kind of breakups even if I can live in Calabasas with a full lawn.
No, I don't either, but I would posit that these things I mean, families have been fracturing now since 2015 when Trump first came on the scene to run as president, like, everyone can just I don't they just have a platform for it to show up, and they don't do anything with it. Yes, she did have 2 moments that we know about of being altruistic. That's all I've got. They're also billionaires. Billionaires are never made without treating the people below them as
True.
utter trash.
True. That is
So,
true.
just for the fact that they are billionaires, that makes them unethical to begin with, but
That's
I
true.
no. I love you so much. I think you are the kindest person that I know, and I won't get off my soapbox about the Kardashians.
No, and I don't disagree with anything you're saying. It's like it's and I know like partly why I'm engaging in this conversation is because like I can't figure out why I'm an apologist. I can't. On paper it goes against literally everything that I most believe in. So I think I'm just trying to work it out as we talk. But yeah,
Okay,
How did we get on Kim?
it goes we talked about,
Oh, the
the
roast. She
Tom
booed.
Brady
Yes.
roast, and I know, like, when they went to Armenia to, acknowledge the Armenian genocide, like, that was using their platform for good. I thought that was really interest I didn't even know about the Armenian genocide until I moved back to LA, and I remember one day there were a bunch of cars driving around the city, the kind that you put in your window that look like the sports team flags that you
Mhm.
fly, and it was all a flag I didn't recognize, and it was the Armenian flag, and it was because it was the day that they were remembering the Armenian genocide, and I was like, "Oh, shit. No one told me about this
I didn't know
genocide.
about it
No
till I
one."
moved back here either.
Right,
It's
like,
so
no one
weird.
taught us this in a fucking history class or yeah, like, of course they didn't. Yeah, so, okay, broken clock. That's all I'm giving. That's all I'm giving.
And I'm
Oh,
not
I know
fighting
you're
for
not.
any
I know you're
more. I'm
not.
just like, yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah,
Ooh,
I
I'm
don't know
hot.
why
I'm hot.
oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh
It's not
god,
your
I didn't
fault.
no, I didn't mean but again, it's one of those things, it's like, yeah, no, she is clearly, if we're getting emotional about Kim Kardashian,
Oh
it's not
my
about Kim
god, it's not
Kardashian,
about Kim Kardashian.
she's emblematic of, like,
She
bigger
is.
systemic
Yes.
issues, and, yeah, it's
A
just it's interesting.
and that just goes to show you the power too of this family. Like, TMZ is in their pocket. Like, they don't ever put out stories that are defamatory about the Kardashians. Netflix probably had something they took the booze out. That's fucked, man. And I bet it was Chris. That family just has they use their power for just
They took the
ego.
booze out of
They took the
what?
booze out of so if you watched it live, you got to see Kim get
Oh,
booed.
booze. I thought you
Right.
said this
No,
is where my
yeah.
head is,
They took
booze, like
about
alcohol.
when
The
yeah,
audible booze.
right.
Okay, gotcha.
They took out the audible booze. And I
Yeah.
just think, you know what? Like, if you're gonna do the crime, do the fucking time.
I mean,
All
in
I
real time,
yeah.
she did, though, like, being booed is whatever. I'm impressed that she got through it like that, but it was and I still don't totally know why she was there, but whatever. I don't know.
'Cause she's Kim
Anyways,
Kardashian.
and it's a roast, and they like to be outrageous, and, so they got it,
The only
but
person I'm interested in seeing a roast who isn't, like, a trained comedian or performer like Nikki Glaser, listen, any opportunity I get to see Blake Griffin on my TV screen, I'm happy for it.
I'm
The
telling you
commercial he did when he was on fucking Broad City, when whose roast did he do? Did he do Alec Baldwin's roast? Which roast did Blake Griffin show up on?
I
I
don't
just think
remember.
he's
I
a
don't usually
darling.
watch them. But I will say the athletes were terrific. And Gronkowski had, like, good moments too, but then he lost his mind and went off script and said as much, and it just kinda derailed.
I'm gonna have
But
to watch this train wreck.
Drew Bledsoe was fantastic. Peyton Manning was fantastic. Like, athletes,
The
they know how
Mannings
to
were
deliver.
they were always great when they went on Saturday Night Live. I always
Yeah,
thought they were hilarious on Saturday Night Live, and Kim was even funny on Saturday Night Live.
she
Like,
was
she
funny.
was good on it. Ugh.
And, yeah, Tom Brady was not funny, which is just in but again, the writing was so good. It's they always tell us in writers' room to make the scripts actor proof. So, like, the writing is so good that you could hand it to an untrained rock and it would read well. And I will say they wrote Tom Brady they wrote to his voice perfectly, and even though he's kind of, like, anti-charisma, I don't know how he's so beautiful, but, like, he manages not to bring much to the table, but he delivered. Anyways, it was a really I don't know. I'm, like, disturbed and entertained, and this is why I don't watch roasts often because they do something to my insides
I
where I'm
mean,
just like,
yeah,
"Ugh, the
because
world is mean and
they're
terrible."
terrifying, right, they're
Yeah.
terrifying. Oh my
Anyways, what did
god.
you watch?
I also watched the Jinx. I watched the 3rd installment on Sunday night, and then my friend Liz was visiting over the weekend, and we decided to start watching season 1 again just because we wanted to, like, we wanted to be as informed as possible, and it's crazier watching it the second time around because you're like, "Holy shit, how is this how?" Privilege, white guy with money, that's how, but, it's like it was really good. The 1st installment of The Jinx came out in 2015. I felt like it was, like, during COVID times. I thought it was, like, within the last 4 or 5 years, not almost 10 years ago.
Oh my god.
Time is so warped now because of 2020 and 2021
Whoa.
and 2022, and Trump probably.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, ooh, I gotta open my booth a little bit, it's so hot in here. Um Let's see. So I watched The Jinx season 1, The Jinx season 2, and I've been rewatching Sopranos, and it's better the second time around. Just the things I'm noticing, it's just wowie, wowie, wowie. Is that show just so chef's kiss, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, Josh was traveling last week for work. This week he's been down with COVID. Like there hasn't been a lot of time for as much. Like, I tried to watch Summer House the other day, and I was too, like, keyed up to pay attention to Summer House.
You
Like,
got a lot going on, and I'm sure you're watching your
uh,
fair share of, like, Lego Ninjago during the day and stuff,
no,
like, just to make it through.
Bluey and
Oh,
Arthur,
Bluey.
thankfully, which I love
Oh,
Arthur and I love
Arthur's so
Bluey. So
gentle.
Arthur is so fucking
Ugh.
gentle.
Even, like, the color palette.
I
The
love
minute
it,
Arthur comes
love
on, I
it.
just go like, "Oh, I
The
feel
things they talk
safe."
about, I do too. I
Yeah.
love that Leo loves that show.
Oh,
So,
of course he does.
yeah, yeah.
Leo's the sweetest.
He is sweet. He is sweet. Yeah. School's almost out. I'm a little scared.
For the summer.
Yeah, but we've got some camps lined up and some family trips and, so we've got a way to recreate at home too now because our pool
Oh,
is
yeah.
done, and so we've been able to go in that. That's my antidepressant too. I've got a lot of things to be grateful for. Our backyard, we remodeled it over the last few years, and, um, I've always wanted a pool since I was a little girl, and we built a pool. There's a pool in our backyard, and today is gonna be at least 80 degrees, and so when my kid comes home from school, we're gonna get in the pool and chill out, and I'm so excited about that. And, my friend Liz was here over the weekend. That was definitely an antidepressant. Um, Again, I mentioned this at the beginning, being able to show up for my husband in his time of need is making me feel really good.
Mm.
And I did another dance class this week, and I actually recorded myself dancing, and this was like, my teacher's giving me some choreography to learn to a song that I got to pick out, but, like, to see myself do this after 15, 14 years, a long fucking time, over a decade, I'm in a whole other, like, phase of my life now, I'm firmly middle-aged, and, like, to watch myself in little tiny booty shorts and, you know, my stomach and my arms and my legs all bare and just, like, not and to, like, appreciate how I was moving and to acknowledge, like, yeah, this is your 2nd time back in a fucking pole studio, and you're doing tricks you haven't done in a really long time. And I have, like, so many bruises, and I love it,
Mm,
and I can't I love it. I'm real happy to be back.
that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. How about you, friend?
Um, uh, I had so many antidepressants this week, and I was thinking, like, I attribute that to this podcast. Like, we started this podcast a little less than a year ago, and at that time, I was in the pit of a very deep depression, like a really, really dark one, and having a hard time, uh, having faith that I would pull out of it. And it's one of those things where it happens when you're not looking. Because the last 2 weeks, I've had so many antidepressants, we haven't had time to get to them. And I was like, oh my God, a year ago, getting out of bed felt like a victory, and I'm not saying that even remote it sounded sarcastic. I'm not even being remotely sarcastic. I did not see a reason to go to bed, and I did not see a reason to get out of bed, and that is
Mhm,
chemical depression.
mhm.
And a year later, I have too many antidepressants, and many of them are things that I, like, went out into the world to do, like being visible, being seen, like, all these things that a year ago were just, like they felt like impossibilities, and it's, whatever. Time heals, so I'm
It
grateful for that.
does. Oh
That's
my
my
gosh.
major
That's
antidepressant.
such a great reminder.
And I had to ask for lots and lots of help, in
Love
lots and
that.
lots of new places, and it's working,
Mhm.
and it's not finished yet. And, like, so I can either be frustrated and focus on how parts of it the journey aren't complete yet, or I can take a moment like right now and be like, "Holy shit, a year ago, you couldn't find a reason to go to or get out of bed." So life is progressing in meaningful
Right.
ways. And so some of them, like one of them is very small. I got these roses and they
Aw.
are opening in the most beautiful way. They look like English garden
Oh,
roses
I
where they
love
have this sort of
those.
like rough edges, and
Yeah.
they're just like absolutely beautiful. I love having fresh flowers in my house. And like these in particular are just like taking my breath away on a daily basis.
Mm.
I also got to have a birthday lunch with my goddaughter, and I gave her a little sound effects machine, and we just had like the most fun playing with it.
Oh
And
my
it
god.
again, I smiled for like 3 days after, getting to spend
Oh.
an hour with her. And then earlier this week, I went to my friend's graduation, who is my age. She got her bachelor's degree, and she said, "This is something that's been hanging over my head and haunting me for decades." And we went to the shrine and watched her cross the stage and accept her diploma. And it's a huge deal. And it just, again, is sort of a like, there is no timeline. She's as proud, probably more proud of this degree that she accepted on Monday
Totally.
than she might have been in her 20s when she was supposed to
Right?
do it. And she worked her ass off and she learned a ton. And I'm so proud of her. And I was so honored to be invited. And you know, I don't know. I don't know if there's a theme to those, but I guess growth or who gives a shit? I just, whatever. The major antidepressant is I'm out of bed and not depressed. And a year ago, that was not the case. And so thank everything for that being the case today.
I mean, one of the things that when I call you in my hour of need, and I have definitely called you for some hours that I did not know how I was gonna get through, one of the things that you tell me, and I know you believe it, which is why I believe it, is that you say often, "In a year from now, you will never remember feeling like this." And you're
Yeah. A
right.
year from now, we won't be having the same
Exactly.
conversation.
In a year from now, we won't have the same conversation. And
Yeah.
Margie, your antidepressants, like, they all sounded well, A, I'm so proud of you that you acknowledged how far you've come in a year. And B, the other ones were about you showing up for other people.
Yeah.
You're
That's
such
so
a good fucking
nice.
person, dude. Your heart is
When I'm out of
huge.
bed, I have things to give and stuff to do. But it really takes like because the point of this podcast is it has a mental health angle, like
Yeah,
it really is like this podcast was part of my antidepressant routine when it first
100.
started. Like yeah, it's a big journey, and it always cycles through and I always forget every time I'm in a dark depression. And they say, by the way, medically, if you're prone to depression, every 20 years, you will have a big one. And
Ugh.
that was right on schedule. And of course, the pandemic and the strike and like everything contributed to like
Right.
making the pit extra dark and deep and cozy. But I did not, I really did not ever think, like you said earlier, I can't remember if we were recording when you said this, but there's a lot going on. You're having a lot of feelings, but you're not depressed. And I was
Mhm.
like, I relate to that
Mhm.
completely. I'm
Mhm.
having a lot of feelings. Plenty of things are unresolved still, but I'm not depressed. And
Right.
depression is so, once you're out of it, it's so noticeable, like what a special, separate, significant
Big
force
time.
it is. So I'm just, yeah. In this moment, I'm super grateful. Cut to 4 hours later when I call you on the phone, being like, "Oh, what's happening?" I'm like
Well, I'll be happy to
weeping or
pick it
whatever.
up.
I
I'll be
know you
happy to
will.
pick it
Thank
up
God for
and
you.
love you through it no matter what and remind you, uh,
But I
of
shouldn't even do that. That's part of my sickness is waiting for the other shoe to drop. It will.
yeah, I
Like,
mean,
why anticipate it? So
I
in this
know.
moment, I'm so grateful for everything in my life, everyone in my life, and these grocery store flowers that have opened up to be like a darling English garden inside my home. So
I love it.
great.
Yeah, this podcast is an antidepressant for me too. Um, yeah, for sure. And we're coming up on a year and we're gonna have some exciting things and we're just excited. And so far we're at 2.5 hours for this. I might break this up. I know. I might break this up into two
I
parts
think
because
that's a good idea.
this is a lot to ask people to listen to
In one,
in one sitting. Yeah.
yes. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, these
you
people gave
Vanderpump
us
finale, we got
they
a Kardashian
yeah.
Supreme Court arguments,
Yes,
we did a
exactly.
lot.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, it was
Um
worth every goddamn minute. I love
yes.
talking to you and
I love talking
yeah.
to you too. And thank you guys so much for listening. Please feel free to reach out to us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose. Please rate, review, subscribe. You can find us wherever we're on all the major podcast platforms. Yeah, YouTube. I'm getting there. Goddamn. It's because I want to put it out like in a perfect edited thing, and it's just a lot to do. It's just a lot. But listen, we'll get there. We're finding our stride still. We're coming up on our first birthday, and I would never fault a 1-year-old for what they haven't learned yet. And I'd only praise them for how far they've come. So,
Preach.
yes. Okay, friend, I will see you next week. Everyone else listening, please take the most precious care of your sweet selves
We'll
in
talk
whatever
next
way that
week.
looks. Yes. And we'll see you next
Yes.
week when we talk about the reunion, part one.
Yes.
All right. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye. Ramona and Margee are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.